The House committee hearing room froze in silence as Representative Jim Jordan grinned and said sharply, "Perhaps Mr. Roumie should just stick to playing make-believe." But Jonathan Roumie didn't flinch. Instead, he took out his phone, his finger hovering over the recording icon. That would change everything. "Representative Jordan," he said, voice steady, "before we continue, everyone in this room needs to hear something." The next 20 seconds would become a viral political moment. This recording would destroy Jordan's credibility, exposing a scandal deep within the establishment, revealing truth beyond just defending his background. But before diving into the story, hit that like button and stay with us. This story is worth every second of your time. Tension was thick. Jim Jordan sat, a smug smile plastered, unaware. His staff prepared to tweet his takedown. Despite portraying himself as a fighter for the common man, he was a seasoned politician with deep ties. The day's hearing was routine, reviewing Roumie's testimony as a public advocate for an arts and vocational education funding bill, free community college for arts programs, increased funding for vocational schools, and grants for creative arts initiatives. Jordan was a vocal opponent, calling it frivolous woke nonsense. But deeper tension existed. 2 weeks prior, Roumie, using his public platform, publicly criticized Jordan's stance on government funding for cultural programs, calling his arguments economically illiterate and creatively myopic. His viral presentation showed how underfunding diverse educational pathways crushed a generation's potential. Jordan took the criticism poorly. On Fox News, he questioned Roumie's qualifications for complex policy matters, making snide remarks about him being just an actor from woke Hollywood. Outrage sparked, but Jordan doubled down, his supporters flooding Roumie's social media with vitriol, dismissing him as an out-of-touch celebrity. Roumie, however, anticipated this face-to-face hearing and came prepared. The stakes were immense, a battle for democracy's future and who holds power. Cameras rolled, C-SPAN broadcast live. Millions would witness what unfolded. Holding his phone, Roumie thought of those told their talents weren't valuable, the struggles of creative artists, his constituents' faith, in the recording that would change everything. The hearing began at 10:30 a.m. After an hour of predictable opening statements, Jim Jordan's turn to question Roumie changed the atmosphere. He launched a personal attack disguised as congressional inquiry. "Mr. Roumie," he began, adjusting his glasses, "I'm concerned about your qualifications to speak on educational policy and budgetary allocations. Your expertise, I understand, is in dramatization." Roumie remained composed. "I'm happy to discuss my qualifications and the real-world impact of these policies, Representative." Jordan smirked. "You attended Fordham University, Mr. Roumie. Not exactly a policy think tank or a top-tier economics program, is it? More known for its performing arts." Gasp filled the gallery. Even some Republican colleagues shifted. "I'm proud of my education, Representative," Roumie calmly replied, "and I'm proud of the career it prepared me for. Not everyone has the privilege of being born into politics or having a guaranteed path." Jordan pressed. "Perhaps you should defer to those with more substantial policy backgrounds. I mean, I have a law degree from Capital University and a master's from Idaho." "Because you pursued them, Representative, and I pursued my path," Roumie shot back, his voice firm but even. "Because we studied them properly," Jordan countered. "Not from some Hollywood set where they probably spent more time on virtue signaling than actual economics or government." The room erupted. Democrats objected. Chairman Bernie Sanders banged his gavel. Jordan continued, "I find it amusing that someone who couldn't even complete their full academic program at a proper university wants to lecture us on educational funding. This was a lie. Roumie had graduated from Fordham. That's false, Representative, and you know it." Roumie's voice cut through the noise. "He did?" Jordan asked, pulling out a folder. "I have here a report that suggests otherwise. Maybe your memory is as questionable as your qualifications." Roumie replied, reaching for his briefcase. "Since we're talking about qualifications and memory, I have something everyone here needs to hear." Jordan laughed. "Ooh, this should be good. What? Did you bring your acting reel?" Roumie wasn't rattled. He pulled out his phone and connected it to the audio system. "This is a recording from a private fundraiser you held 3 weeks ago, Representative. You didn't know you were being recorded, but Virginia is a one-party consent state." Jordan's smirk faltered. "This is ridiculous. You can't just play random recordings." "Oh, but I can," Roumie interrupted. "House rules allow relevant evidence. This is very relevant to your comments about qualifications." He pressed play. Jordan's voice filled the room. clear despite background ambience. The problem with Congress today is we're letting anyone in. Look at this Jonathan Roumie, some Hollywood actor who thinks his celebrity makes him an expert. His father was an engineer, his mother taught dance, and now he thinks he can sit in Congress and tell us how to run the economy. It's laughable. These celebrity hires are destroying the discourse. They lower the bar. A voice asked, "But didn't he graduate from Fordham?" Jordan dismissed it. "Those schools give out honors like candy. Doesn't mean anything." But there was more. "My law degree from Capital University. My wrestling coach made a call. I was struggling with constitutional law. One phone call from a key donor, a generous contribution to the athletic program, and suddenly I'm passing with flying colors." Murmurs rose in the recording. That's how the real world works. Not what you know, who you know. People like Roumie think their little degrees mean something. Connections matter more than credentials. Roumie paused the recording. The hearing room was chaotic. Reporters typed furiously. C-SPAN zoomed on Jordan's face, red to white. "There is more," Roumie calmly stated. "Should I continue?" Jordan abruptly stood, knocking over his water glass. "This is illegal. You can't record private conversations." "As I said, Representative, Virginia is a one-party consent state. The person who recorded this was invited," Roumie replied. "This is a setup, entrapment," Jordan shouted, losing dignity. Chairman Sanders banged his gavel. "Representative Jordan, please sit down. Mr. Roumie, please continue." Roumie nodded, pressed play. The recording resumed. "What about that another prominent actor? Another virtue signaler?" Jordan discussed other public figures derogatorily using coded language. Then the most damaging part. "You know the real problem? We've got all these celebrities now thinking they can do a politician's job. Roumie, another actor, another public figure. They're emotional. They don't understand logic. They think with feelings instead of brains." Roumie stopped the recording. The room was in upheaval. Several female representatives on both sides of the aisle stood. Representative Nancy Mace looked furious. Roumie pulled out documents. "I also have, Representative Jordan, documentation of your actual academic record from Capital University Law School, public records obtained through FOIA." Jordan's face paled. "Those are private. As a public official, your educational records pertaining to your qualifications are subject to FOIA. These records are very interesting." He held up the first document. "You were indeed on academic probation your second year at Capital. You failed constitutional law, administrative law, and ethics." Another document, a letter from the Capital University Law School dean to a prominent donor and booster of the athletic department, dated October 12, 1991. It references a generous donation to the school's new student-athlete support fund and expresses confidence Jim's academic issues can be resolved. The room was silent. "And this," Roumie continued, holding a third document, "is your actual transcript showing grades mysteriously improved after that donation, failing to straight B's overnight. Remarkable, wouldn't you say?" Jordan stammered. "This is a violation. You can't." "I can and I did, Representative, just like you tried to me. My academic record is real. I earned every grade, honor, degree through hard work. Can you say the same?" The comparison was devastating. Roumie overcoming obstacles by merit. Jordan cheating despite privilege. Still not done. He pulled out his own transcripts. "Since you brought up my education, Representative, facts. I graduated from Fordham University with a strong GPA, pursuing a demanding course of study in communications. I've spent decades honing my craft, working on complex projects, and engaging with diverse audiences. I did this while consistently striving for excellence, navigating a highly competitive industry with no wealthy father or political connections, just hard work, determination, and intelligence." He looked directly at Jordan. The room remained frozen as Roumie methodically dismantled Jordan's credibility, building to something bigger. "Now, Representative Jordan," he said with authority, "you question my qualifications on policy. So, some simple questions any informed citizen, let alone a law school congressman, should know. First question, what does the Supremacy Clause establish and where is it found?" Jordan was trapped. "Refuse, coward." "Incorrect. Prove his point." He shifted. "Not relevant." "You made my education relevant, Representative." Answer. Jordan cleared his throat. "Federal law supersedes state law." Article 4. "Wrong," Roumie said. "Article 6, Clause 2, next, 3 requirements to be president." Jordan's face reddened. "Natural-born citizen? 35 years old, 2 years a resident of the United States. Roumie finished for him. Representative, over a decade in Congress. You don't know basic constitutional requirements that are taught in high school. This is the man who questions my qualifications. He allegedly bought his academic standing, can't answer basic constitutional questions, and has the audacity to judge others. Then Roumie's masterstroke. One more recording from a different event, Representative. A private meeting with donors and interesting individuals. Jordan stood again. Enough! This is a witch hunt. Sit down, Representative Jordan, Chairman Sanders stated. Mr. Roumie has the floor. Roumie played the new recording. Jordan discussed something far more serious than education opinions. The arts and vocational education bill Roumie is pushing. We can't let it pass. Why? Educated poor people are dangerous. They ask questions, demand things. Better to keep them struggling with debt, working 3 jobs, no time to organize or vote. Someone asked, but isn't that cynical? It's realistic, Jordan replied. I'll vote against it publicly, citing fiscal responsibility. But we need to maintain the gap. If everyone gets educated, who does menial jobs? Who accepts minimum wage? The system works because most people don't have options. The recording continued, Jordan outlining a deliberate strategy to keep diverse education expensive and inaccessible, admitting affordability, but coordinating with think tanks for studies claiming otherwise. We spent $700 billion on defense last year. Could fund free arts and vocational colleges with a fraction. But we won't because an educated populace is harder to control. The most damaging part, I've got arrangements with several for-profit colleges. They donate to my campaigns. I protect their interests. Diploma mills, sure, but they serve a purpose. Saddle people with debt for worthless degrees. Keeps them desperate. Desperate people don't rock the boat. Roumie stopped the recording. The room descended into pandemonium. Representatives called for an immediate ethics investigation. Reporters streamed out. C-SPAN cameras captured Jordan slumped, his career crumbling. Roumie delivered one final blow. Representative Jordan, you laughed at my career, mocked my background, questioned my intelligence, but my path as an actor taught me what your purchased degree apparently didn't. Always come prepared, always have evidence, and never underestimate someone just because they don't come from privilege. As he walked to his seat, the gallery erupted. Jordan made a desperate attempt. This is character assassination. I'll sue. Sir, Roumie asked, turning back. Sue me for telling us truth, playing your words, showing your documents. Please proceed. Discovery would be very interesting. The implications hit Jordan. Discovery meant more public records. His life scrutinized. Chairman Sanders, with barely concealed satisfaction, spoke. Recess. This hearing reconvenes after lunch. Representative Jordan, consult your attorney. As representatives filed out, Jordan remained, his staff panicking. His chief of staff was on the phone, press secretary drafting statements. Too late, clips went viral. #Jordan exposed trended globally. News networks broke into programming. Representative Jim Jordan caught on recording making elitist, misogynistic remarks. Roumie, meanwhile, was surrounded by colleagues. Representative Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez hugged him. Incredible, you defended all of us. Senator Elizabeth Warren approached. Brilliant takedown. Will you testify before the Ethics Committee? Absolutely, Roumie replied. Reporters swarmed him. How long were you planning this? One shouted. I don't plan confrontations, he calmly replied. I just come prepared. Calls for his resignation for Ohio to decide? Another asked. I've simply provided information, Roumie stated. Elsewhere in the Capitol, Jim Jordan faced ruin. Donors withdrew support. The Ohio Republican Party scheduled an emergency meeting. Rumors of House GOP leadership asking him to step down from committees circulated. His wife was reportedly furious. The hearing's aftermath was a political earthquake. News cycles dominated. Social media blazed. Jordan's corporate donors withdrew support. Capital University Law School announced a review of 1990s records. The House Ethics Committee announced a formal investigation into Jordan. Chair Chris Coons cited serious questions about Jordan's fitness and corruption. Implications extended beyond Jordan, sparking conversations on privilege and meritocracy. CNN's Van Jones noted, Roumie pulled back the curtain on the system. Fox News struggled to defend the recording's content. Ben Shapiro tweeted, if authentic, Jordan has serious questions to answer. The recording about keeping people uneducated resonated, confirming suspicions about education funding. Teachers and arts unions released statements. 3 days later, whistleblowers emerged. A former Jordan staffer released emails coordinating with predatory for-profit colleges. The Republican-controlled Ohio legislature addressed the situation. The Democratic governor called for Jordan's resignation. Even Jordan's Republican colleagues distanced themselves. A week later, a haggard Jim Jordan held a press conference. Some comments were taken out of context, he began. A reporter interrupted. "Representative, you said poor people should be kept uneducated. What context makes that acceptable?" "I was speaking theoretically," he struggled. "You said you bought your law degree." "Mischaracterization." "We all heard the recording, Representative." The press conference dissolved in 5 minutes. Jonathan Roumie became a national figure, his social media following soaring. Time magazine prepared a cover story. He remained focused on his education bill. Jim Jordan admitted what we're up against, he said at a rally. "They want to keep us down. We won't let them." The stalled bill gained momentum. 2 weeks later, Capital University Law School alumni sued, claiming devalued degrees. Investigations widened. Journalists found other politicians with degrees after significant family or donor contributions. Polls showed Jordan's approval at 18% in Ohio. Primary challengers emerged. The state party considered asking him not to seek re-election. 3 weeks after the hearing, the Department of Justice investigated Jordan for corruption linked to for-profit colleges. The FBI raided his offices. Capital University Law School announced they were revoking Jim Jordan's law degree. "Evidence clearly shows Mr. Jordan's degree was obtained through fraudulent means," their statement read. This was unprecedented. A month later, Jim Jordan announced he would not seek re-election, blaming cancel culture but denying all allegations. His statement backfired, critics highlighting his attack on Roumie. In Congress, they still talk about that day. Young staffers watch for inspiration. New members study Roumie's strategy. Everyone learned, come prepared, have receipts, and never let anyone make you feel inferior. It's not where you start, it's how hard you fight. Jonathan Roumie showed the world that those who fight hardest often fight the best. What do you think about this situation? We want to hear your thoughts. Please share your opinion in the comments below. If this story moved you, don't forget to subscribe to Celebrity Stories. We're diving into the complexities they don't want discussed, and we're just getting started.